The atmosphere of the diplomatic space station Veritas Prime shimmered with tension and unspoken expectations. Representatives from 22 galactic species bustled through wide glass corridors, preparing for the first unified cultural exhibition, a gathering meant to promote peace through shared art, history, and expression. Among the lesser-known attendees was Lieutenant Darren Cole, a human exolinguist turned cultural liaison. He wasn't the most decorated officer, but he had a knack for understanding nuance, especially when words failed. That knack was why Earth's delegation sent him to help with the Kavari. The Kavari were a reclusive, highly intelligent species. Tall, reptilian, with layered horn structures along their cheeks and jawlines. Their rough scales and blade-like mandibles gave them an intimidating appearance. Most galactic species avoided prolonged interaction, mistaking their silence and stillness for aggression. Darren, however, knew better. The Kavari delegation was led by Archivist Thalrix, a female based on biological readings, though the Kavari rarely acknowledged gender distinctions. She stood nearly 7 feet tall, her scales a gradient of deep indigo and dusk blue. A faint bioluminescence flickered at her temples, a Kavari trait that pulsed with mood but remained unreadable to outsiders. Most ambassadors struggled to speak with her. Darren. He offered her coffee. "You prefer it bitter?" Thalrix asked, cradling the warm cup awkwardly in long, clawed fingers. "I like it bitter," Darren replied with a smile. "Tastes honest." She said nothing, but her head tilted curiously, a Kavari version of raised eyebrows. Each day after that, Darren visited her at the observation deck, offering coffee and asking about her species' artifacts. She answered his questions in precise monotone, never meeting his eyes for long. But Darren noticed other things. How she lingered near reflective surfaces, then flinched away. How she observed the other female delegates, the Glaraci with their flowing biotextile gowns, or the crystalline Imeri who shimmered like chandeliers, with something like shame. One day, during setup for the exhibit, Darren caught her alone, adjusting a display of Kavari ceremonial masks. Her reflection shimmered in the polished obsidian behind them. She didn't notice him at first. He watched her flinch again, stared at her reflection like it accused her of something. "Thal?" he asked softly, using the nickname he'd made for her. She turned so quickly the tip of her tail struck a ceramic sculpture, cracking it. "I'll pay for that," she muttered. No, that's not what I meant." Darren stepped forward, lowering his voice. "Are you okay?" She looked away, voice low. "It is difficult to belong in a hall of beauty when your form incites discomfort." Darren frowned. "Who told you that?" Her throat clicked, a Kavari sign of internal tension. The evidence speaks for itself. Middle. The cultural exhibition began with fanfare and shimmering lights, each delegation presenting art, dance, sculpture, or history. The Kavari brought a collection of ritual masks and bone-carved music tablets. Few approached their section. Darren stayed nearby. He noticed how other delegates passed by Thalrix without acknowledgement. Children clung to parents at the sight of her towering form. One group of young ambassadors whispered and laughed. Thalrix pretended not to notice. But the bioluminescent glow at her temples dimmed nearly to black. Later that night, Darren found her seated alone on the edge of the hydroponic gardens. The moons of Veritas Prime cast silver light across her silhouette. "I never asked," Darren began, settling beside her. "Do Kavari have any word for beauty?" She was quiet for a long time. "Our language does not value surface. But there is a term, visual. It means symmetry of purpose and form." "I like that." He smiled. Do you know what humans say about beauty? Thalrix turned slightly toward him, the moonlight catching her scales. It's in the eye of the beholder, he said simply. But I've seen you. You hold yourself with quiet strength. You make others uncomfortable not because you are ugly, but because you are powerful, graceful, and they don't understand it. She stilled, her pupils narrowing like slits. Then she whispered almost inaudibly, "You believe I am beautiful?" "I do," Darren said without hesitation. "And not just because of your form. Your culture is beautiful. Your voice is beautiful. You, Thal, are beautiful." She froze. Literally. Her species, under intense emotional stress, entered a temporary state of lockdown, a biological holdover from ancient predator avoidance. She stood rigid, bioluminescence flaring bright lavender. "Oh crap," Darren muttered, standing. "I broke her." Thankfully, the episode only lasted 30 seconds. When she thawed, her head dipped low, the Kavari version of extreme vulnerability. "You meant that," she whispered. "Of course I did." "Then I am afraid." He blinked. "Why?" "Because I want to believe you." Ending. The next day, Thalrix did something unexpected. She removed the ceremonial mask from the Kavari central display, a symbol of tradition and anonymity, and stood before the gallery unmasked, adorned in ceremonial robes. Her natural colors and bio-glow shimmered with boldness instead of shame. And this time people noticed. Curious attendees stepped closer. Children no longer ran. Even ambassadors approached to ask her questions. Her voice, calm and confident, narrated the story of the mask, the symbolism of the carved music tablets, and the songs of mourning and rebirth embedded in each artifact. Darren watched from the back, smiling. He didn't interrupt. Later that night, on the viewing deck, Thalrix stood beside him, arms crossed behind her back. "You were correct," she said softly. "They fear what they do not understand. But when I offered truth, they listened." He looked at her. "You're amazing, Thal." She clicked her throat softly. "Would you visit my world someday? I would show you the cliff choirs, the sky flowers. I believe you would find them beautiful." "I'd love that," he said, smiling warmly. Then, she did something unthinkable for a Kavari. She reached out, gently touched her clawed hand to his. It was a gesture of trust, intimacy, perhaps even affection. And though no words passed between them, the glow at her temples pulsed a soft, shimmering violet, the Kavari color for joy.